Hey hosers, James Griffin here, and we are bringing you a game from my Wyoming. This isn't really about my game, well, it's a very good game in the Wyoming. The results at the end at least speak for themselves. This isn't even about me in the Wyoming, because I did not have the best game on my team. Although I would say I had the second best game. This V170 right here, let's look at him. Tempest Reach. He is I suspect he's a new player. A very new player. And he has an amazing game. But I have an amazing game as well. For entirely different reasons. And I actually, in a large way, allowed him to have an amazing game. So, there's 4 of us heading up to the ACAP. Aside from myself and Tempest Reach, there is Captain JJ in this Kolberg, which is a Tier 3 German cruiser, and Panzer Grenadier in the Turenne, which is a Tier 3 French battleship. And we're going to run into a bit of trouble here. Here's the first contestant, Wakitake. So, and if you're paying attention to the minimap, you can see 3 more battleships heading our way. So right now we're looking like we're going to be in for a fight. I'm spotted. I'm assuming that Wakitake is somewhere over here. I'm just turning to angle myself against his torpedoes, should he decide to fire them. I'm also expecting to have to start shooting at these battleships, which I have realized are there. But as you can see, I'm expecting this walkie-talkie to come around here and try to torpedo me. He's actually lost his engine. It looks like he doesn't have the engine. Looks like he doesn't have a repair kit or anything, so I let him have it. I hit him 3 times, delete most of his health. And Tempest Reach claims his first kill, but now a Wild Wix appears and starts giving it to Tempest Reach. Of course, he is a little outmatched, but it's still an American destroyer. He's still got decent guns. But Tempest has given him what for, so I'm going to start on this Nassau, the 4th battleship that is coming our way. So I'm going to dispense some democracy to him. 1 hit, 1 bounce. Not bad. 1 penetration, 1 bounce. So there's 2 Kaisers, 2 Tier 4 Kaisers, a Tier 4 Myogi, and a Tier 3 Nassau against, as well as a Wix against a V170, a Kolberg, a Wyoming, and a Turenne. So that Nassau, he's the closest one. He's firing AP at me. He's closest. He's firing AP, and he's the easiest to kill, so he's going to be the one I bring down first. No, he's firing 8. No, that's not from the Nassau, that's actually from the Wix. But we are going to give him a little more democracy for you, Nassau. Now, if you watch, you can't really see my rudder shifts, but if you are paying attention, either to the minimap or to the game entirely, or in general, you can see that I am actively maneuvering. I'm not just driving straight. There goes the Nassau. I kind of stole that kill from Tempest, but that's fine. So this is where I decide I need to turn my guns, partially so I don't run into this, into the map border. And I don't want to turn back into them because that destroyer's up there and he'll torpedo me. So we're going to... I was thinking about giving it to the Myogi. I think I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to get him. Like I would hit the island. So we're going to fire at the Kaiser. And I'm not actually trying to get my forward guns on him. I'm just trying to change my... see, I took that one in the aft turret. I'm just trying to get my... I'm just trying to make it so that they can't get the range on me. This Kaiser has decided he's going to give up shooting bouncing AP off my hull, and is shooting HE at me. So we're going to show him why AP is the better choice. Again, just minor turning, just minor helm control causes that other Kaiser to miss his salvo. And since this guy's broadside on, I'm going to keep shooting at him. He's also most likely to die first. And he is going into the cap. They are actually both not firing at me. But the Wix has shown himself, and he is... His intention is very clear. He's going to try to torpedo me. We're going to try to put one more shot over the island. And there we go, we got another 2 hits. Fire my next salvo at the Kaiser, and we're going to get very good damage. 13 or 14,000 damage, roughly. But now I'm going to have to deal with this Wix, so I'm going to ask for some help. But as a destroyer and battleship, and cruiser captain for that matter, I know that if I keep on this course away from the Wix, he's going to have an insanely hard time torpedoing me. And here he goes. He's obviously trying to launch his torpedoes, so right when they turn is when they're vulnerable. I didn't get any penetrations, but I did get 5 overpens, deleted most of his health. He's going to smoke. He's obviously fired his torpedoes, so I'm not going to stay on the same course and heading. But also his torpedoes only go 4.5, 5, maybe 5.5 kilometers at most. He's already 4 kilometers away when he fired them, probably. And I am actively moving away. So even if his torpedoes are spot on target, they're not very likely. There we go, the turret got him. And he's still alive. At some point, I thought that he either ran or died. So I completely forgot about him. And if you see this, and there's his torpedoes. See, they didn't even have the range to hit me. Which is kind of why I ended up all the way down here. But I'm still firing at the enemy. I'm still actively maneuvering. I'm not being useless down here. I've had to move away from the fighting. But that's just because I like a open water mobile play style as opposed to like hiding behind islands and shit. and these guys aren't very good shots. Hopefully they can see what I was doing, and if anyone on the enemy team watches and who played this game watches, you know, understand what I'm doing. Watch my aiming, because this is actually a reasonably good game for me shooting wise as well. You know, and take notes. So, oh, that's a decent shot. 3 penetrations, 5,000 damage. And while we were talking, the Tempest Reach has picked up yet another kill. This time on one of the Kaisers. So now I'm not terribly out of I'm not terribly out of position. He's now about 14 kilometers away from the Myogi, but I've got a clear line of fire to him. You know, he's in range. I can rain down gunfire on him. The Wyoming is actually reasonably good at long-range bombardment like this, just because you're likely to at least hit with something. Just because of the sheer volume of guns, it's very American shooting. Not terribly accurate, but there's a lot of shots. And watch this. Tempest in his V170 just comes out of his smoke screen and obliterates the Myogi. Okay, he didn't obliterate him, but he's going to get the kill. I take a shot. You see, I still get 2 hits on him, and then he floods. Oh, you got him with I think you got him with another torpedo, actually. I didn't see the other torpedo there. And, yeah, I just had to compliment that guy. Look at this, he's got naval warfare weaponry basics, so I think he's a new player. We also have this other Wyoming that kind of stayed around here and helped out. There's even more damage. You can just shotgun an area with this thing, though. So even if you're at like 14 kilometers, you have a good chance of hitting. You don't have much control over where you're going to hit, and this is great. Let's see if we can see it from here. I'm going to take another shot at the Kaiser. Another big hit in there, 5,480 damage. But
our victory is in sight.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Yeah! This Tempest Reach has his 5th kill for Kraken Unleashed. I have to go back to my day job, so I won't be drinking any Kraken today. But, you know, I could have just, like, sat behind this island, and the Turin did the right thing sitting behind this island. They would have focused their fire on him, but they were choosing the harder target. He helped me out a bit. He survived, and there was 3 tier battleships a tier higher than him bearing down on him. I did forget about you there, Panzer Grenadier. I thought you were either dead or run away. I'm sorry about that. I was just super focused, and all this shit up here. But I stayed in open water. I was constantly shooting my guns. You should always be doing one of, say, 3 or 4 things. You should always be contesting a cap, or playing the objective, contesting a cap, attacking, sinking enemy ships, whatever. Removing the enemy's resources, their hit points, their consumables, putting their damage repair on, or their damage control party on cooldown, whatever. Removing their consumables, shooting down aircraft, whatever. Supporting your team either through spotting or through anti-aircraft, or even just being a deterrent. Like if you have like a Baltimore or some other radar cruiser, and you're sitting on an obvious flank where a destroyer might want to attack, and they see you out there, they may just rethink the entire thing and go away. You're preventing them from even launching their torpedoes, depending on what ship it is, without even having to shoot at them. Or you should be moving to an objective, or otherwise trying to survive. Like if you're getting focused down by 4 or 5 ships, and you're alone, and you're trying to get behind an island so you can repair or get unspotted or whatever, then definitely that's okay. If you're just sitting behind an island in a battleship at full hit points, shooting things. I guess it depends how effective you are, but you really should be tanking some hits for your cruisers and destroyers. But or if you're sitting behind an island doing nothing, not shooting, just sitting there waiting to shoot at something. I mean, for some ships like a lot of cruisers, it's okay. If you're just waiting to spring an ambush or for something to actually come in range, especially if you're using American cruisers. But if you're using say Japanese cruisers or something, you should be using your speed out in open water, firing at things. Sometimes different tactics, the battlefield is fluid. Anyways, let's take a look at the rest of the game. Let's take a look at my results first. I did 83,000 damage. Let me just bring up some stats here. I don't have the stats open. The average was like 27,000 for a Wyoming or something like that. So my average is 44. I promise I'm not seal clubbing. I was playing the Cleveland trying to get my win rate over 50%. And I was utterly failing. I have since got my win rate over 50%. Barely. And I haven't played it since. Well, at 50% at least. But I was just so fed up with Cleveland. I had to play a ship that I actually like playing. And I didn't want to play a cruiser, so I wasn't going to play like a Pepsi or an Oba or something. So I went through with the Wyoming just because I need to get it over 50% as well. When I started this, it was at like 24%. Now I'm at 47, but it's taken a million games. I did obviously forget to take screenshots. I wasn't planning on using this as a video, but I decided to. Because it's a good example of maybe the people who we were playing against weren't quite as skilled as me. Maybe it was actually technically seal clubbing, I guess, but that wasn't my intent. Don't get me wrong. If you ever see me in a Tenryu, I'm being a dirty, filthy seal clubber. But for this, I have purpose, and it's not to seal club. It's to rectify past mistakes. So I sunk the one ship, which I kind of stole. I almost wish I didn't sink that guy, because then Tempest Reach would have had 7 kills, which is just great. So I kind of wish I didn't sink him, but I didn't. I don't even think I saw his torpedoes until after I took the shot, and I didn't. At that point, I didn't expect him to have 6 kills. I was actually second on experience, but whatever. I got 2 defender medals just on ribbons on the one of the Koenigs. The other, aside from Tempest Reach, who had an amazing game, he was definitely the star of the game. Well, maybe because you can look at it like this: that these 2 Kaisers, not the Myogi, I don't. He almost didn't shoot at me at all. But these 2 Kaisers spent most of the game shooting at me, and then one of them gave up and drove into the cap, and immediately got torpedoed by Tempest. So if I wasn't out, giving those 2 enemy battleships a hard time, they might have been, sitting on the cap and just shot them to pieces. So I was definitely a main factor. I made if I wasn't there, being as good as I am, I'm not amazing, by the way. I'm just good. But if I wasn't there, keeping my cool, just trying to survive and to shoot back at them. That's really what's going through my head. What's going through my head through that whole thing is, I've got to keep moving. Okay, this guy's firing. I've got to make a hard turn to starboard to dodge or bounce his shells. There's that Wix behind me. Okay, I've got to get ready to shoot at him when he launches his torpedoes, and then maneuver away from where the torpedoes are going. That's what's going through my head at that time. Right before the point where the Wix died. All I'm thinking about is what my current step is. In a situation like that, I'm not thinking, okay, oh my god, what is my team doing? Maybe I should be thinking that a little more. Keeping better tabs on my team, but that's something I don't really necessarily do enough. I do get caught out alone without my team a lot. I expect too much of my team sometimes. Not necessarily in a good or bad way. Anyways, I'm not thinking, okay, I gotta get 1,000,000 kills or anything like that. I'm just thinking, here's the steps I have to take to win the game, or at least to help my team and not die, and that's what I'm doing. It wasn't until this guy got his one achievement. What was it? The wait, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. He almost carried the stupids. One more kill and Tempest Reach would have carried the stupids. But yeah, he had a great game. I had a great game. I didn't have necessarily a great game here, but keeping my cool, not just immediately turning tail and running away or hiding behind the nearest island, and keeping pressure on those enemy battleships. Pretty much single-handedly taking on 2 same-tier battleships, coming out of it with not a lot of damage on me. That allowed Tempest to that had them focused on me. It allowed Tempest to pretty much wreck them, as well as this Myogi, who had no support and was up against Tempest and a Wyoming and our Terran at one point. Because he had no support. So yeah, I'm just kind of rambling on. But that's what you got to do. Stick with it. Use whatever tools and skills you have to keep at it, and that's the best way to win. And it definitely helps you to not be it helps you to help your team win the game. That's what I'm trying to say. And everyone has their own play style. I like open water. I don't like islands. I like being able to maneuver because I'm good at it, right? That's what I'm good at. This is a perfect example of how I learned to maneuver, mostly through using mid-high tier Japanese cruisers, Mayoko especially, speeding off, getting into more trouble than they can chew off, and somehow managing to survive and get back to my team with half the enemy team chasing me, trying to get the kill. It is a skill I had to learn, but now it's a skill that I like to use. And everyone has their own thing. There are a lot of people who would not feel comfortable doing what I did and would have felt comfortable going into those islands, and having a close range brawl with the 2 Kaisers, which trust me, even though I'm not good at it, the Wyoming is extremely good at that too, just because it carries such a big stick. But I'm rambling on here. It's something I do. But I'll reiterate, if anyone from Wargaming is still watching this, HMCS Haida, shut up and take my money. And that's it for the video. Have a good one, eh?